I don't think she'll stay that relaxed. And when I start talking to the camera, she comes up and is like, "You're talking to me?" But she also gets very distracted by light, and there's like dappled light coming through the window now, so that might preoccupy her. Hello, and welcome to my November budget reset. Oh. Yeah. Girl. Yes, good girl. Good girl. No. Hello, I'm Georgia, that's Billy, and I'm all about trying to live a creative and stylish life without screwing my bank account or the planet. So on this channel you'll find lots of DIY, upcycling, thrifting, that sort of stuff, but also personal finance. So today is the November reset. I'm gonna start with my budget reset, look at October, plan for November, and then also do my planning and junk journaling in here. So before we get into the numbers, I'll just explain a little bit about me in case you're new here. I work a normal salaried job 4 days a week, and then I keep 1 day a week to do content or just like anything that I need. So I do have a side hustle income from brand deals. Don't get much from YouTube, but I've got like a bit of extra income. I live with my partner and my dog, who you've met, in Sydney, and we share a mortgage on the place that we live in. We do our finances as a yours, mine, and our system, where basically we get paid into our separate bank accounts, and then we put an equal amount into shared accounts to pay for mortgage, all of our shared expenses, groceries, going out to dinner together, some savings for travel and that sort of stuff. So the majority of my income would go into that joint account, but we both have our own accounts. Any of my spending, my investing, my personal saving, the more discretionary stuff and less necessary stuff is in my budget. So I have 2 spreadsheets that are identical. I've created these, you can buy them on, I'll put them in the description. I have one which is I document all my income and all of my expenses out of my own accounts, and then I transfer a chunk of money into our joint, and I have another spreadsheet where I manage that lot of finances. October went by in a second. To be fair, I was away for pretty much half of it, but I had a quick look at my goals on my Notion dashboard, and I knew this would happen, but I barely made a dent in any of them because I wasn't here. Anyway, that being said, it was an amazing month. We went to India. So the start of October, I had my friend's wedding in Sydney. The next day we flew to India, did the whole Indian wedding thing, flew back. It was a really quick trip because of that wedding in Sydney. Originally we'd planned to do a 2-week trip and travel around a bit, but then when we found out about my friend's wedding in Sydney, we had to move the flights back. So I definitely wouldn't call it a holiday, but it was an amazing trip. There were 5 different events. I thrifted all my outfits. I made a video about that if you're interested. Then when we got back, I was straight back into work, but I didn't have to travel for work this month. So work was actually pretty cruisy. And then last weekend, one of my oldest friends in the world, she's having a baby, and she lives up in the Northern Rivers, which is like Byron Bay area. She doesn't live in Byron, but in that area. And so me and one of our other friends went up for a girls' weekend, like a baby moon, but without her partner. And it was just really nice. And the weather was amazing. I swam like 5 times. Just had a really wholesome weekend. These girls are like sisters to me, but as adults we don't really get to spend that much quality time together, especially because the 3 of us often live in different places. So absolutely loved that. And this month my boyfriend and I bit the bullet on doing an international trip next year. It's been a long time since we've gone on one that's just been a holiday for us to go on. It's normally been for someone else's wedding or like a family trip or something. All lovely things, but we're both like, oh, we really want to just like choose a place that we actually want to go to, plan the whole itinerary, like not have anywhere to be. So we're going to Vietnam. So this month I booked the flights, which was a bit of a dent. But trips aren't cheap, as we know. So the budget took a bit of a hit. And obviously we're about to have Christmas. I've got a hens next month that I'm planning. Like, don't see things getting cheaper anytime soon. Okay, so here is my budget spreadsheet. It'll look to you like my income sources and my investment totals are blank. That's because I've made them invisible for privacy reasons. So in my resets, I just share my spreadsheet. I've been building my own tabs where I have all of my expenses and half of our joint expenses, so I can actually see where every one of my dollars is going. But budgeting wise, it's easier to do it separately. So let me know if you think that would be more helpful to you, because like obviously, like when I'm saying that we booked a trip to Vietnam, that was all out of the joint account. $1,500 of my money went to holidays and travel, but you won't see that in this spreadsheet because for me, the joint stuff is like its own thing. Anyway, so I went $2,000 over budget. I was meant to spend $1,080 in wants, and I spent $2,093. And looking back on previous months, I don't even necessarily think this is a spending issue. I think it's a realistic budgeting issue. I always go over, and that's because I try and make it fit a certain number that isn't going to happen. So as far as income goes, this month, it was a 3 paycheck month. I brought in 13K. That's mainly because I paid myself a big bonus from OK With My Hands, because I have a tax bill that I didn't expect. So I've paid myself more so that I can pay off that tax bill. Bills all look completely normal. I'm $25 over, because it was a 3 fortnight month. So I must have just put in there that there'd be 2 payments, but there were 3. Now for groceries, normally my groceries all come out of our joint account. But when I was up in Byron, I bought a few groceries, and as of this week, Jai, my partner, is away for work, which is sad. We're not really going to be together much in November, but obviously I'm going to be putting my groceries on my solo card then, because he won't be here to eat them. So I got a few groceries today. So $70. Why was life admin was much higher than expected, because basically I accidentally paid for a few personal expenses on my business card. And then when I was fixing up all the receipts recently, I was like, oh shit, that was meant to be for me from like the past several months. So I had to pay back a large chunk that I didn't plan for. Health and medical, also more, because I had a psychiatrist appointment. I was looking at getting on medication for ADHD. Long story, I think it's not ADHD. We think it might be a fatigue thing. Anyway, it's expensive. Psychiatrists are expensive, if you didn't know that. The rest was under, which is good. Coffee only went $5 over. Eating and drinking out. What the hell was I thinking $120? I guess maybe I thought that all of my... Yeah, okay, obviously I thought that my Byron expenses I was going to log as holidays and travel, but I actually logged them as eating and drinking out. So actually that pretty much balances out, because I was $480 over in eating and drinking out, but $380 under in holidays and travel. So I was only $100 over. Clothes and shopping, I hadn't planned to do any shopping, I guess, but there was this brand that I get some of my basics from. They had a sale on a couple of singlets, so I got 2. I was planning to wear the other one, and then I immediately got deodorant marks on it, and I'm pretty sure I got some on here as well. But it's like, how are women meant to get dressed? I was trying not to get makeup on it, so I was like, ugh. And then I just looked down and I'd like rubbed all my underarms all over it. So you win some, you lose more. I bought some shoes from Depop that I picked up today, but I haven't opened them yet. I'm very excited. I got a new water bottle lid. I have this wide mouth one, and then I spill it all over myself when I'm going for walks. So I was like, I wanted one of those straw ones. Ordered it that afternoon after I'd got the it's been shipped notification. I realized that the wide mouth water bottle, actually you can like twist off the top and there's a small mouth in it. I guess I've got 2 lids now. I just really hate buying stuff I don't need, so that's a killer. And then just earlier today, I've been wanting to get I need some plain white t-shirts, plain linen pants. Picked up some of those, so definitely went over budget there. Again, went over budget on hair and beauty, sorry. So I've got a hair appointment next month. It automatically charges a deposit for it. When we were at the airport going to India, I bought a discovery set of some perfumes because I wanted some to travel with, and I got a couple of makeup products that I've run to the ground from Mecca. And you buy like 2 things at Mecca and it was $230 already, so what are you gonna do? Events, activities and hobbies, I hadn't budgeted anything for, but the book that I was reading when we left for India, I had to return to the library. If I returned it after we got back from India, I would have been charged a late fee, so I ended up just buying it at the airport and returning it before we left. So had to buy that, and I had to buy some sewing supplies to fix up my outfits for India. Booze was under, surprisingly. Often it is on this budget because we'll generally buy like a bottle of wine. Jai and I will get it on our joint account. I think I just bought a bottle of wine when we were in Byron. Taxis and share cars, yeah, I went over. It's always hard to predict that. Gifts, I hadn't budgeted anything for, but then I forgot my best friend's birthday, and also I got a few gifts when I was in India for my mum and my sister. Donations, I donated $500 to Plan. This month was the International Day of the Girl, and they were doing an End Child Marriage campaign. I did a piece of content for it that I posted on Instagram, and obviously want to put my money where my mouth is. And that is something that I need to be factoring in more in my budget next year. I previously had I'd automate my donations, and then I don't know why last year I cancelled all of them. I think I thought I would, I don't know what I thought. I thought I'd do them manually, I don't know. But I'm gonna do research on what I want to be donating to next year, and I'll reset those up. Then as far as savings and sinking funds, overall here I spent more from my sinking funds than I added. I emptied them except for hair appointments and contact lenses. Obviously, when you go so far over budget, you need to pull money from your sinking funds. And I pulled money early. Normally what I do is I will have my one bank account where all my income goes into, and say it ends up being like $6,000 or $7,000 over the course of that month. That's then the money that I budget with for the next month, but I ended up pulling from some of that this month because obviously I went over. And then with my long-term savings, I emptied my travel fund for India, but I moved more money into my emergency fund. I feel like I've really stagnated on the emergency fund. My goal is 15K by the end of the year. Most of my 20s, or not most, maybe since like 25, when I started getting really into personal finances, I had an emergency fund, 15K. It's not my savings. It's a $0 balance in my mind because I just always want to have that cushion. And honestly, nowadays, I should probably have it as higher, but we had a bad bathroom renovation when we moved in 2 years ago and I emptied that fund, just struggling to get it back up. I'd hoped to give myself a bonus to bump that up, but turns out I've got to pay it to tax. Then for investments, all of my investments are automated, so I don't have to think about it. And I put at the start of the year, I put a goal for how much I want to contribute. So say for example, for Raise, which is one of the micro investing platforms that I use, my annual goal was $1,000. So I'm this close to adding $1,000 to my Raise account this year, if that makes sense. Got to bump it up on the ETFs. I guess I'm not going to make that because we're only 2 months away from the end of the year, unless I do a big dump. So overall, I don't have any regrets with how I spent my money in October. I never quite know what commentary to make on these things because I am fairly conscious about my purchases. So it's not like I'm just doing these things willy-nilly. Then obviously you look up here and the budget versus the actual in any variable expense is is always way higher. So I'm not being realistic with the way that I budget. Though I did put more in my savings than I had budgeted, which is good to see. My highest expense categories were eating and drinking out, life admin because of that unexpected transfer, donations, that's good to see up there, and health and medical. Health and medical is always up there for me. Okay, now let's move over to November. So as far as what's on for this month, I touched on it a bit at the start of the video, but my partner's in Perth for a lot of the month. Not just in Perth, is away for work. Well, Jai's in Perth now, flying there tonight, but he'll be away for work quite a bit. And when he's not away for work, I'm away for work or at a hens weekend. So we're ships in the night, sadly. I miss him. My friend's in a play. I have a laser appointment, but that's prepaid. I bought a Black Friday package last year and it's about to expire. So got to use that last one. Hair appointment that I've got to pay for. Got 2 therapy sessions booked in that I'll need to pay for. And I got to pay the tax. And I might go fruit picking with my girlfriends. It's been on my goals list all year. There's this one place that you can camp at overnight with dogs. So I wanted to go there with Jai, but I think it's just not gonna happen. So I might just do it as a day trip with the girls. Okay, so for November, I'm gonna have a budget of $7,500, which is basically what's in that bank account that I use to divvy up my money from, minus what I have to pay for tax. So as far as bills, these are the same every month. I think that will be, there's nothing I can wiggle there. And sinking funds, just to explain, because sinking funds for me are a very transient place for money. So this column here with the planned deposits, that's what I'm budgeting to add to it, which are just auto transfers that I have every month. I kind of, at the start of the year, will be like, how much do I think I'm going to need for hair appointments? And then divide that by 12 and automatically add that to an account and just take from it when I have a hair appointment. So with the bank account that I have, they'll automatically disperse that money once I've added money to the account, and then I will budget what I want to pull from it. So for example, if I need to buy contact lenses this month and I already have $300 in there and I know that there's going to be $400 going in there, I could pull $300 and then the actual budget will be minus $200. Does that make sense? So let's get into budgeting the variable expenses and we can figure out from there what I need to pull from sinking or saving. So groceries, let's say 120. Is that realistic? Be 200. Pets will come from our joint account. Even though Jai's not here, he's still a father, you know? Life admin, let's just say 50. Therapy will be about 250, I would say. Health and medical, guess I need a prescription or something. I did recently have a blood test and normally my GP wants to see me after a blood test. I might put 100. Public transport, let's say 20. Fuel, I'm probably not driving much. I might need to fill it once. Okay, coffee, let's say. I am gonna be in Adelaide for work 1 week this month, so I will be buying stuff. I will be buying coffee, I mean. 80. Oh, fuel. I'm gonna be driving down the coast. Driving to Lila's Hens. Eating and drinking out. I recently plucked my chin hair and I miss it when it's not there. And then when it's there, I'm like, ayayada. Like when I go to my friend's play, we'll go out to dinner. When we go to the Hens, we'll go out to dinner and like get lunch. I'm gonna put 400. I never ever budget appropriately for eating and drinking out because I think I just have a misconception of how much it costs and how much I do it. But like last month was what, 600? Yeah, 605 eating and drinking out. We did go to fancy restaurants when we were up in Byron, or Brunswick Heads, but holidays and travel. Will I be booking anything? Oh, I'll say 400 for Lila's Hens because I haven't paid for the accommodation and stuff, my portion of it yet. Clothes and shopping. Black Friday is at the end of this month. I'm not a big online shopper, but I do have some things in the back of my mind that like I do need new sneakers, like runners sneakers. I need some Pilates socks, sports bras, and I actually have a Black Friday saver. Yeah, I'm gonna put the whole amount and pull it, what's in there, 450. Home decor, I won't buy anything. Hair and beauty. I know how much my haircuts are. Unfortunately, they're $170. Is that a lot? I feel like I do think that's a lot, but the person I go to is amazing and a friend of mine, so it's like a nice catch up. But whenever I have been like, oh, I'm just going to see if I can go somewhere cheaper, unless it's just cuts, then they're all kind of in that 150 to 180 mark these days in Sydney. But this month I'm also getting colour done because I've got some greys coming through. So I think it's going to end up being like 330. How much was it last time I got colour done? I've already paid the deposit, actually. Remember that, Georgia? Events, activities, and hobbies. I've already bought the tickets for my friend's play, but someone else that I know, Hannah Riley, you might know her if you're in Australia. She's a friend of a friend and very funny. And I remember she announced that she's doing a show and I put in my diary tickets come out on this day. So how much does a theatre ticket cost? 60? Takeaway, maybe now that I'm a bachelorette, I'll get takeaway. Probably not though. 50? Booze, maybe I'll want a couple bucks. Taxis and share cars. Work will pay for most, let's say 50. I'm just thinking with eating and drinking out, I think I've kind of ignored Adelaide. So now we go over to pull money out of my savings and sinking funds. We'll take all of that. Oh, will I need to order contact lenses this month? Probably. Possible GP appointment and order contact lenses. Okay. Oh my God, I'm gonna need to start getting Christmas presents. Derp. Did I write that and forget? Maybe I put it in the other day. But yeah, I've got a fund for that. I'll actually probably... What I'm actually gonna have to do is when I travel for work, we get a travel allowance, depending how many meals you're away for, yada yada. So I'm gonna bump up the budget knowing that I will receive that. Normally I'd prefer to just bank it for like the next month, but I'm gonna struggle to like properly budget for what I'm gonna need in Adelaide without it. So I'm just gonna make this, let's make it 900. So I think the travel allowance will be about 400. And then that's pretty much on track. There's nothing going into my emergency fund, which I really hate. And maybe I just won't buy anything at Black Friday. And then I'm actually more likely to go over with Black Friday because the things that I look for more than like clothes and stuff, skin treatments. I've been thinking of getting microneedling next year and I was like, oh, I'll buy a package. Anyway, that's that. That's feeling all right. Let's close the laptop for a sec. Jump in and have a squiz at my Notion. This is my goals dashboard. I put all my annual goals up the top and then I create a strategy through different projects and habits. And those are the things that I measure every month. So let's go to my October reflection. I've already started this. So my monthly report reading, I'm currently reading Stolen Focus by Johann Hari. Really interesting and well timed with the fact that I might not have ADHD but might have some other inattention issue. I also read The Women by Kristen Hanna, which was incredibly reviewed, but I found it a little bit, like, it was a very unique story. It's about these women in the Vietnam War, which is a story that's often not told. So it was interesting to be in a different world, but I found some of it. It wasn't my writing style, particularly towards the end. It was a little bit cringe for me, maybe. And I also half read Everything I Know About Love, but I had to return it to the library. So I'm back on the wait list for it to finish the second half of Dolly Alderton. Eating condensed milk caramel ice cream from this brand called Lickets. We got it from the fancy grocery store. It's so good. It's like an elevated vanilla with little tiny bits of caramel. You wouldn't even realize there's caramel in it. It's like pieces of salt. I've been back onto Wordle and Connection. Obsessing. What have I been? Oh, sorry, my camera died. Obsessing has been the Ride podcast with Benito and Mary Beth Barone. If you've seen Overcompensating, it's the creator of that. Just so good. I've always meant to listen to it, and then when we were in India, one of the girls I was traveling with, who I didn't know that well, she was cackling at the front of the bus at something when we were on the drive up. And afterwards I was like, I've got to ask you, what are you listening to? I need podcast recos. And she was like, it's Ride. But she was also like, you've got to go back to the start because there's so much lore. So I have already listened to 52 episodes and it's been 2 weeks. I shouldn't say I'm obsessing over it though, because bleep it if you know, you know. Recommending this, my curation journal. I've just recorded a reel that I'm going to publish next week about recommending it, because I feel like this is my second year of having it and I've just ordered my third. But it's just a planner that I love the layout of, and it has you've probably seen those planners where it's about gratitude and planning and blah blah blah, and it's that, but it's not too much. The right amount of guidance in the layout without being too restrictive. There's a lot of space to kind of plan the way you want to. So I like that. And also I asked them for a discount code. So type in Georgia and you'll get 10% off. Treating mangoes. It's mango season. The lesson of the month, I would say, is, this one's going to hurt, but it's worth it to pay extra for a better airline. So when we flew to India, as I said, it was the day after another wedding. I was quite hungover and I haven't done a 12-hour flight in quite a long time. I used to not blink twice think twice about taking a 10-hour AirAsia flight in tiny space. I just didn't give a shit, but now I'm not made for an uncomfortable life. But we booked the flight on point, so I booked Qantas and it was really good. We take 5-hour flights when we go to Perth, and often it will be Jetstar or whatever's cheapest. It actually is way better when you're on a more comfortable airline and they give you good food. Maybe it's just Qantas. Maybe Qantas is just really good. But I say this with a grimace because the flights that we booked to Vietnam are Vietjet Air, the cheapest one. It was $200 each, I think, $250 each to go from Sydney to Ho Chi Minh City. But it was going to be $1,000 more to get a better airline, which is a week's worth of accommodation at somewhere nice, Vietnam. So do as I say, not as I do. As far as my goals, my habits were pretty off, to be honest, this month. Surprisingly, I had 13 days alcohol free. I was drinking every day in India and in Byron. I feel like I haven't been saying no to any wines at home either, because I've kind of thrown the baby out with the bathwater. But I still had 13 days without alcohol, which I'm sure for many people is not many. For me, I'm someone that can easily have a glass of wine every day if I'm not thinking about it. One of my goals has been to go to therapy. I'd said 2 times per quarter, but it's actually been monthly that my therapist is away. Exercise, it did not happen. I don't think I've been to the gym all month. Oh, it was the 1st of October. So that was actually so I went to the gym once and I did 3 Pilates classes. One of them was today. We're going to get back into it. November. Steps are looking good. On track with my adding money, investing. Posting is on track. I don't think I saw my mum last month. Yeah, I don't think I've seen my mum we planned to and then didn't have a chance. One of my goals that I set at the start of the year was to cook a new recipe with Jai every month. It's kind of morphed into or having a date night or just more conscious time. I think I want to reword that for next year to be both broader and more specific in my monthly review, and I finished 1 book. Okay, now as far as the project goals, I set them quarterly. I had a few okay with my hands ones, which were create a brand identity and launch my 2026 budget spreadsheet. That is the spreadsheet is up. It's the one I was just using, but I want to update the listing. I think there's one thing I want to tweak in the formula to make one of the pages work a bit better. If I can get those done in November, that would be sweet. Brand identity, what were my tasks on there? done fonts and captions. So yeah, need to play with that a bit more. Go fruit picking. Again, this is still in the plan. Set up my goals. Yeah, I would say I'm probably 50% of the way there. I've started to do it. No, I'm probably more like 25% of the way there. I've started the Notion page. I've written some of the goals. I've been thinking about it a lot, but this month I'm gonna have to have my 2026 goals ready to go because I do them by season. So in December, my summer batch will start. Spring clean, still gotta bissel the couch, clear out my beauty products, a few different things. But I've been chipping away at some of the jobs and I haven't made any progress on planning my Mending March content other than in my head. Getting all my clothes I'm wearing. I've put a few things, I would call that, no. I won't even. And finishing the courtyard project, I haven't made any progress this month. I did quite a bit last month, that's why we're already at 60%, but nothing to add this month. Now, as far as what's on the horizon, I'm just gonna copy it from my budget spreadsheet. So, let's close the laptop and then I'm just gonna spend some time doing my November planning. I don't like to do any of my written planning until the actual month of. I used to go through and fill out the calendar and yada yada, but this is like my clean space to remind myself by writing it down at the precipice of the month. So I'm just gonna jot down my activities and then I'm gonna glue in some of my memories into the October date. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know if you like these videos. I'm kind of not sure if I'm gonna keep doing them. Maybe I've just lost my mojo a bit, or I don't know. If you do like them, let me know so that I know I'm not just screaming into the void. Now it's time for us to go and hit our step goal for the day, isn't it, Bill? Bye.